Good morning. Today we're going to make banana muffin, and it's with sorghum flour. Just 100% whole grain sorghum flour, not any starches, not a list of 16 different kinds of flours, just sorghum flour, and you're going to love it. You're going to love using this flour. It's very easy to use. But I want to talk a little bit about the rest of the ingredients. You need bananas, of course. They need to be really ripe. The riper the better. These could be even more ripe. If they have more brown spots on them, perfect. If they're green, it won't work so well. We're going to use white sugar today. Often I like to use dark brown sugar, but it has a lot of flavor and it masks the flavor of the banana. So today we use white sugar. Walnuts. I love walnuts in banana bread. This is a little bit of salt. This is xanthan, very necessary for getting the bread to raise. Baking powder, equally necessary for getting the bread to raise. An egg, and oil. And then here I have a fun sugar. This is not necessary, but I have it. It's fun to use. It's called Demerara sugar, and it's raw washed cane sugar, big crystals of it, and it makes a nice sparkly, crunchy coating on the bread. And we'll coat some of the bread with it and leave some of it plain so you can see the difference. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Here are the tools. We use a blender for this recipe. We're going to blend up the bananas until they're liquid, and that's the only liquid in this recipe, so you really need that here. We have a mixing bowl for all the dry ingredients. We have little mini tins. I think smaller is better in gluten-free baking, and plus they make cute little gifts. And you can bake once and enjoy one loaf now and put the other two in the refrigerator and the freezer and have them later, so it's very handy. You're going to need measuring cups, measuring spoons, a spatula for mixing it up, and I have a brush here. I use this to oil my pans. I am preferring to use oil now instead of cooking spray just because it doesn't gum everything up. Sometimes when I spray the cooking spray on a sheet pan and then bake with that, it gets very gummy and very hard to clean. The other thing is that I know that it's gluten-free. You can get gluten-free cooking sprays. Most of them are, but there are a few that have wheat flour added to them. A brand like that is called Baker's Joy. Do not use Baker's Joy because it has gluten in it. So very simple. Okay, here we go with the wet ingredients. I start with my oil and pour that in the bottom. Doesn't really matter what order these things go in for this recipe. The egg goes in. Like so, and then the bananas without a peel. So I just simply peel them and plop them in. They smell, they were very fragrant. Like so. And then my hands are really pretty dirty, so I'm going to go wash my hands in a second here before I turn on the blender. Alright, I'm going to clean up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. We're going to put the lid on the blender. My blender I have to press on, and then I press a speed. It's done. That's quick. Okay, we're going to set this aside and then we're going to get the dry ingredients ready. We are now ready for the dry ingredients, and there is a correct way to measure flour. So I'm going to show you that. What you want to do is gently get it into your measuring cup and then level it off. You don't want it rounded. That'll mess up the proportions. And so something flat like this, like the handle here, or a knife works. And we'll add just a little bit more, see how close we are. Alright, so, oh, really good, really good. Okay, so that goes in, and we need 2 cups, so we're going to do it again. You see here that I have a little bowl underneath to catch any extra. I hate to waste this or anything. So I think that's handy. Oop, that's probably a little bit much. Alright, so see there I've got too much here, but I'm just going to go over the end into that bowl, then I can put that back into my container and use it again. So there we go. Perfectly measured flour. Then we're going to mix in the sugar. We're going to mix in the walnuts. This is our baking powder. I'm going to put that right there. Salt I'm going to put on top of the walnuts so I can see it. And then the xanthan, same thing. I'm going to put that in a little pile. Now, what I want to show you here is that when I am mixing baking ingredients, I put them in little piles and don't stir them until I am absolutely certain I have everything I need in here. Okay, now to stir this up, we want to make sure that especially the baking powder and the xanthan are completely mixed in here. The baking powder sometimes has little teeny white balls that don't mix in, and sometimes you have to squish them with your fingers because if you leave those in there, they stay in there till you're done with your baking and they don't taste good at all. Also, the xanthan mixes with water. It absorbs lots of water or liquid, and if it's not dispersed all the way through here, it also will turn into little globules and won't do for you what you want it to do. So, but very simple, just mix it up just like this. It's all nice and thoroughly mixed now. We're going to get our banana puree, that's what you call it when it's completely blended up, and pour that in. Alright, that goes right into the middle. You can see there's a lot of fruit in this bread. And I like to get as much of this out as I can. I think there's a lot of goodness in there. Alright, get that out of the way. And then we stir this until it's thoroughly combined. Until all the dry parts are liquid. We also, once it's all completely mixed up, we need to let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes for that xanthan to hydrate. That means to absorb some of this liquid, and that's really important for the rising of your bread. You will also see that it gets thicker over those 5 to 10 minutes, and that's because of the xanthan getting hydrated. Alright, here we go. You can see now, what this texture is like? We'll come back in 5 and 10 minutes and I'll show you what it's like, and then we'll put it into the pans. In the meantime, we can prepare the pans. Okay, to prepare the pans, it's very simple. Take your little brush if you have one. If you don't have a brush, you could use also some paper towel and just dip it in your oil and then put it around your pan. That works great. And see, this way I'm not spraying my pan on this sheet pan and then getting it all gummy. Very simple, that's all there is to it. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. We're going to now put the batter into each of the pans and try to get it evenly divided. I usually do it in a couple of passes. And we'll leave one of them unadorned. You can smooth it if you want, it doesn't really make that much difference. Okay, we're going to put, this is the demerara sugar. We'll put that on one, and I put it on pretty generously. I figure if I'm going to have sugar on here, I might as well go all the way. And then we're going to leave this middle one plain. And this is just white sugar, just for your comparison, so you can see what they look like when you treat them different ways. Alright, now they're ready to go into the oven. Make sure your oven is preheated. That's the start of the recipe. Preheat the oven. And then we're going to cook it for about 50 minutes and we'll be back and show you how lovely these look. They're getting gorgeous. This is 55 minutes. I want to test it with a little toothpick. And it comes out clean. So that tells me I should be able to stop. But I'm always nervous, so I'm going to put it in for 5 more minutes. And then I'll feel better about it. So I'll be back. Okay, this is an hour, and oh my goodness, it just smells wonderful. We have the different looking sugars. This is the demerara sugar. This is the plain with no sugar on it, and this is white sugar. And these will have, the 2 sugar ones will have a crispy crust when it's cool. You really need to let these cool though before you cut into them. So we're going to give them an hour maybe and come back, and then I'll cut one open and you can see how lovely it is inside. Okay, it's been an hour. There's a teeny bit of heat still on here, but they're cool enough. So I'm going to pop one out of the tin. This is the one with the demerara sugar. But you'll see that it comes out really easy. It's nice and brown on the bottom. Beautiful. And so I'm going to cut it right down the middle so you can see how beautiful it is. Perfect. Just perfect. Smells wonderful too. So you can, this would cut a little easier if it was a little cooler. But who wants to wait? And that sugar is crunchy, so that's the part that's, I have to get through there. Okay. I'm going to put it out on this platter, and oh, beautiful, ready to serve. I hope you enjoy it.